Hello, viewers. Welcome back to another episode where we're going to be talking different aspects of operations technology, keeping operations safe, available, and secure. And today, we're going to discuss the best practices to secure operations technology. And to continue our conversation, I have with me Raj, who is going to share his experience in terms of how best practices can help secure the operations technology. Raj, thank you so much for taking time. It's all yours. Tell us, what's the best
Thank you.
practice?
Okay, thank you very much, Sujit, having me on this meeting. When it comes to enhancing the security of OT, and there are multiple ways of there are multiple aspects of considering the security. One is it can be defined in zones. So, like what we do on the traditional networks, we break it into a smaller broadcast domains or a VLAN or separation. So, which also going to create a segmentation, or we call a micro-segmentation of a device, which going to be restrict access to other systems. So if one system is not compromised, we are not going to let other all systems to be get compromised. And also we can use some firewalls bring in between OT and IT networks, so we'll know how what traffic to be routed to onto the IT side and OT side. So there will be a segmentation on the higher network level, and the policy level, whatever kind of authorized traffic going to be allowed to OT networks. And also we can bring within a network also can the restricted intrazone communication. So if there is two priority logic controllers it's working on, or the OT network is working on, so we also can bring a segmentation between interzones, which also reduce the unwanted access to between the systems. So within an ACL, we just tell only these protocols or these devices to be allowed. And also deploy an industrial demilitarized zone. Again, the similar concept. So establishing a DMZ between the IT and OT act as a buffer zone, so which is the connection to going through this. And also strengthen the access control system, so implementing the strong authentication, so get rid of the basic default passwords, and try to enable the multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication to gain the access or a jump devices or something. Still, that also can be enforced to enhance another level of access security mechanism to access this network to manage and maintenance. And also the rollback access controls, which is again least privileges based administrators. So the will provide only OT admins can do OT admin works on certain logic controllers, not everything. So this way also can be reduced and be have more control on improving the security aspect. And again, we'll need to have a proper audit and the monitoring mechanism on who has access the devices or the networks, and these need to be monitored frequently to make sure the right people being given access, or the people denied access, and so on. And also important to have a regular patching systems, so deploying a proper patch management policy, OTs, so it need to be properly audited and put into a set registry, and we'll keep track on all these items when the next patching need to be done, and when was the previous patch was done, and the priority of these patch and regular kind of updates, maintenance, and also the test before deployment. So we'll need to test certain aspect of security before we put into the patches. So these all need to be in place, and also need to be vulnerability assessment on these to do a regular scans to make sure there is no new vulnerabilities exist, and we can schedule it to run once in 3 months kind of time frames, and also identify and the priority is the risk. So if it's a less risk, we can reduce the level of the security of certain elements. So because it all comes at cost, and also the if there is a small threat being identified, immediately we need to fix those things, and working on the continuous improvements, and also develop a trailer made training session for these people who working on these how these the OT context the important need to be taught, and how when they want to deal with situations at this incident situations, and also give the right role-based training to do only the specific task rather than giving the entire task to an engineer. So we can limit that also, we're limiting the scope, and also promote a security culture, because all this need to be told to our staffs and employees to understand the consequences and the regulatory requirements, and also to attack, to make them feel, to kind of simulate these attacks and show, and bringing some awareness campaigns which also improve the overall security of the OT aspect. And also we need to encourage the reporting and the collaboration piece. So if there is an incident happen on any tampering monitored or anything related abnormal on these OT system, which need to be reported to the proper authorities and need to be reassessed, and what was the status of it, which also it's a operation, continue operation, and improving the security, and so on. So the regular assessment, which is also important on when it comes to improving the security aspect of OT. So I would say these are the main aspect every OT engineers need to be, or OT security engineers would need to know how they are going to securing their OT infrastructure.
Absolutely, Raj. And I would also like to add a few points to the list of best practices you suggested. And I think it is also important to have a framework which talks about policies and procedures for continuous operations. And I guess with the integration with IT, it also becomes important that there is transparency and there is a way to continuously monitor the different compliance postures. Because if you take electricity, it is an essential service, right? And an essential service, electricity becomes an essential service to a hospital to ensure, the safety, the life-saving equipments are operated without any disruption. Of course, we would then again talk about business continuity plans and so on and so forth. But at the prima facie, you need to ensure that these technologies can be reliable and continue to operate as intended. And you also spoke in terms of creating awareness, which is also important, right? So awareness at all levels, at the senior management level to operation staff, your supply chain, your vendors, all of them form the whole ecosystem, right? So that also need to be brought into consideration. And then, of course, the very interesting and important point which you mentioned was continuously assess and audit. Because if you have a mechanism, a self-assessment mode, you can also self-detect deficiencies. And if, let's say, you uncover deficiencies, it has to be remediated. If you can't remediate, then does it warrant you to upgrade your platforms or your technologies? If that is the case, then it has to be a budgeting exercise where the funds have to be allocated. So I guess like how we do IT, OT also requires that element of focus. And when you compare in terms of cost, sometimes operations technology can be more expensive, the technology in itself, excluding the technology required to secure that environment. So with that thought, Raj, I would like to wrap this session up. And when we come back next time, I think we should be talking about the role of emerging technologies. And I think we keep hearing about artificial intelligence and various forms of technologies available for use for organizations. And I would like to invite you to talk about the emerging technologies. So viewers, stay tuned for our next episode where we're going to be talking about the role of emerging technologies. In case if you missed our previous episodes, you can look up us in the YouTube channel, Circulo di CISO, where you would find the conversation we've had with Raj, where we're talking about operations technology. So stay tuned and see you soon. Thank you, Raj.
Thank you very much, Sujit.